fire, blood, stone. From these, Rome was forged. It rose from exile, carved its law into marble, and sent its legions beyond the edge of the known world. 1,000 years of conquest, collapse, and rebirth etched into the bones of history. This is the story of ancient Rome. In the heart of the Italian peninsula, along the gentle curves of the Tiber River, a legend was born, a city destined to rule the world. Its name, Rome. The story begins not with kings or empires, but with two brothers, Romulus and Remus. Born of divine lineage, suckled by a she-wolf, and destined to quarrel, one would kill the other and crown himself king. Romulus gave the city its name, and so began the age of kings, 7 in total, each adding something vital: a calendar, a sewer system, a temple to Jupiter. But Rome was never content to remain a mere city. Rome sat at the crossroads of civilizations, Etruscans to the north, Greeks to the south. Trade, culture, and power flowed through this hub. It welcomed outcasts, criminals, and slaves, and turned them into citizens. From its earliest days, Rome was an open city, diverse, resilient, and hungry for greatness. Its kings, particularly the Etruscans, left lasting marks: the Latin alphabet, engineering wonders, and military structure. But one scandal would shatter the monarchy. When the son of King Tarquin raped the noblewoman Lucretia, outrage erupted. Rome expelled its final king and vowed, never again would one man hold absolute power. In 509 BC, the Roman Republic was born. 2 consuls would now rule, elected, limited to 1 year, and held in check by the Senate. It was not a democracy, but it was a revolution. The Senate was made of patres, fathers of the state. Thus came the patricians, those outside the elite, the plebeians, commoners without political power, even if they were wealthy. What followed was a long struggle for equality. The plebs fought not with swords, but with secession, walking out en masse until they were heard. Bit by bit, they won rights, tribunes, veto powers, and eventually equal status. By 287 BC, the plebs had achieved legal parity with the patricians. Rome now stood not divided but united, bound by the motto, Senatus Populusque Romanus, the Senate and the people of Rome. Yet this unity would be tested by war. In 390 BC, Gallic tribes sacked the city. Rome burned, humbled, but it survived and learned. In 390 BC, disaster struck. Gauls stormed into Rome, catching the city unprepared. The sacred geese of Juno, not the guards, gave the alarm. Rome survived by a thread and vowed never to be caught off guard again. From the ashes, a new army rose, organized, mobile, relentless. The Roman legion became a machine of conquest. For 100 years, it fought endlessly, not for plunder, but for alliances. Instead of tribute, Rome offered citizenship, loyalty in exchange for protection. A stream of recruits flowed in, swelling the ranks of the legions. With Italy secured, Rome faced a greater challenge: the mighty Macedonian phalanx. Precision met discipline in brutal combat. Rome won, but another enemy loomed larger: Carthage, the master of the Mediterranean. And so began the Punic Wars. The first war bled both empires. Rome gained Sicily. The second brought Hannibal, one of history's greatest generals, thundering across the Alps. Rome suffered, but endured, and then counterattacked, landing in Africa, defeating Hannibal and pushing Carthage to the brink. In 149 BC, Rome struck the final blow. Carthage was destroyed, its people enslaved, its soil salted, its name erased. That same year, Rome seized Corinth and the riches of Greece. With the East conquered, Rome stood unrivaled, its republic now an empire in all but name. Victory abroad brought crisis at home. Cheap grain and slave labor from conquered lands bankrupted Roman farmers. They flooded the cities, angry, poor, and desperate. The gap between rich and poor became a chasm. The Senate grew corrupt, the people restless, and violence seeped into politics. The Gracchus brothers tried to fix it, redistributing land, offering bread to the poor, but the Senate responded with bloodshed. Rome plunged into chaos. Ambitious generals offered hope and land in exchange for loyalty. The army no longer served the Republic, but their commanders. One such commander was Gaius Julius Caesar. He conquered Gaul, slaughtered millions, and became a living legend. But ambition burned brighter than duty. In 49 BC, Caesar crossed the Rubicon River, an act of war. He marched on Rome, daring the Senate to stop him. Civil war erupted. Caesar crushed Pompey, conquered Egypt, and crowned Cleopatra queen. The Republic gasped for air. He returned to Rome a hero and a threat. The Senate feared he would crown himself king. On the Ides of March, they struck, and Caesar fell. Julius Caesar died with 23 wounds, but left behind one unexpected heir, his 19-year-old grandnephew, Octavian. Octavian swore vengeance. He formed an uneasy alliance with Mark Antony and crushed Caesar's killers at Philippi. But power is a poison not meant to be shared. Antony fell for Cleopatra, and Octavian used it to turn Rome against him. At Actium, Octavian's fleet crushed Antony's. The lovers fled to Egypt and chose death over surrender. Rome was his. Octavian took a new name, Augustus the Venerable. He kept the Senate but held all real power. He didn't call himself king, but ruled like one. The Republic was dead in all but name. An empire was born. Augustus brought peace, Pax Romana. For 200 years, the empire would flourish under a system he built. Bread was free. Gladiators fought on artificial lakes. Rome had never known such glory and never would again. Under Augustus's legacy, Rome blossomed. Temples rose, poetry flourished, and concrete buildings reached for the sky. But not all emperors were poets. Some ruled with paranoia, like Tiberius, who punished even whispered insults. Then came madness. Caligula nearly made his horse a consul. Nero sang while Rome burned, and Christians became scapegoats. Yet even madness passed. Stability returned with Vespasian, a former peasant who built the Colosseum and taxed urine for profit. His son Titus destroyed Jerusalem, but was still called merciful. The temple fell, Rome celebrated. Then came the Golden Age. 5 good emperors brought prosperity, order, and justice. None inherited power, they earned it. Trajan was called the best. He expanded the empire to its greatest size. 1 million souls now called Rome home. Hadrian chose walls over war. He fortified borders, built the Pantheon, and deified his young lover, Antinous. The last good emperor was Marcus Aurelius, a philosopher on the battlefield. But when his son Commodus took the throne, glory gave way to vanity. Commodus fought in the arena, not on the front lines. He was strangled by his own wrestling partner. Rome spiraled into chaos. For 100 years, emperors rose and fell, bought by soldiers, killed by rivals. The empire cracked from within, but even in collapse, Rome adapted. Emperor Caracalla granted citizenship to every free man across the empire. Diocletian tried to save it. He split the empire in 4, ruled with iron, and turned Rome into a bureaucracy. But power breeds ambition. Civil war returned. From the ashes rose Constantine with a vision of a cross in the Squama. He embraced Christianity, founded a new capital, Constantinople, and changed Rome forever. But the West was dying. In 476 AD, barbarians stormed Rome. The last emperor was a boy named Romulus, fitting and final. Rome may have fallen, but its shadow never faded. Roads, laws, languages, cities all carry its imprint. French, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, all born from Latin. The alphabet you read, the calendar you follow, the law you obey, all Roman in origin. From republic to empire, from sword to scroll, Rome reshaped the world, not through immortality, but through influence. And perhaps that's the true power of Rome, not in how long it lasted, but in how deeply it still lives within us.